Microsoft announced plans to lay off thousands more workers. 3% of employees across all departments will be laid off, the company says. And when you actually dive into who's getting laid off, it's like interesting. The direction that Microsoft is going. Microsoft, I would argue, the epicenter of where DEI goes in the West to be birthed and fostered is Microsoft. And Microsoft then pushes the message out to all the tech conferences, all the conventions, all the products that they sell, everything. It starts with the word of Microsoft. So the gospel of Microsoft gets pushed out, and the gospel of Microsoft is DEI. Microsoft has announced that it'll be laying off 3% of its total staff. The layoffs will take place across all levels, teams, and locations, according to a CNBC report suggesting that Microsoft's gaming division may be affected to some extent. According to the report, Microsoft had around 228,000 employees by the end of last June, which would mean laying off, that's nearly 7,000 employees, 6,840 employees. Though it's not known if the employee count has risen or fallen since then. Okay, so I think general rule of thumb is to say around 7,000 people are being let go. In a statement to CNBC, a Microsoft spokesperson said that one of the objectives of the layoffs was to reduce layers of management, saying, "We continue to implement organizational changes necessary to best position the company for success in a dynamic marketplace." Now, I want to pause here and speak to a story that my brother told me about 8 months ago, where one of his buddies worked up high at Microsoft. And he's like, "Do you know what he said they do every day?" And I was like, "What? What do they do at Microsoft?" He's like, "Nothing. They go in and do absolutely nothing." I was like, "Well, who do they report to?" And he's like, "That's the thing. When I talked to him, he didn't even know who his manager was. He didn't know who the people he was reporting to were, who reported to him. The organizational chart was so completely convoluted that it was beyond broken. Like there was no point to any of it. All these jobs were created and built for projects. And then when the projects were finished, the people just kind of like hung around. And then when new projects needed to be started, they'd bring in more people to work on those projects and then bring in more people to work on the projects after that and just keep the employee count going higher and higher. And the people that were there were left with nothing to do except just get a paycheck and go into work every day. I'm like, that is insanity. Demonic 114 says, just like our government. Not wrong. Not wrong. This would be the largest mass layoff at Microsoft since January 2023, when the company confirmed plans to lay off around 4.5% of its workforce, around 10,000 employees. So again, not known if they brought on more people since then, but assuming they have not brought on anyone new or limited people new to, we'll say 2,000 more hires, that is, we'll guess 15,000 people being let go from a company in 2 years. The 2023 round of layoffs affected Microsoft's video game divisions across both Xbox and Bethesda, with a reported significant number of layoffs at 343 Industries, which is now Halo Studios, the studio behind 2021's Halo Infinite. Microsoft's HoloLens business and some engineering divisions were also reportedly part of those cuts. Yeah, didn't Microsoft completely cancel HoloLens and throw that entire project out after pouring how many hundreds of millions into billions of dollars into HoloLens? And that was supposed to be like the future of augmented reality, which, by the way, I've tried HoloLens once. It was at San Diego Comic-Con on display, and it was fine. It didn't blow my mind. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is the future. I was like, this is kind of a clunky thing you put on your head, and you can kind of see stuff going on in front of you. I'm like, I can kind of almost see the idea of what they want to do with this, but it just wasn't there yet. And apparently Microsoft felt the same way when they canned that entire project. This was followed by a games-specific round of layoffs in January 2024, where Microsoft announced that it was cutting 1,900 staff across Xbox, Bethesda, and its newly acquired Activision Blizzard. Wait, so that's in addition to the... So we're getting close to 20,000 layoffs in a 2-year period here. There's got to be like laws against that at some point. You can't do that. You can't bring that amount of people in just to lay them off. That can wreck an entire economy. That's insane. According to the message sent to staff by the time Microsoft head of gaming Phil Spencer, the decision had been made after Microsoft and Activision Blizzard leadership teams set priorities, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we're all aligned on the best opportunities for growth. Now, keep in mind, Microsoft bought Bethesda for how many, was it, billions of dollars? Then they bought Activision Blizzard for what? Was it like $70 billion? Something insane? And then they lay off people. Like, you could live 25 lifetimes and not get 1/1000th of you couldn't get 1/100,000th of what that was in 25 lifetimes with all the money you could possibly earn in your life, what they bought Activision Blizzard for. So it's just funny to me that they're laying these people off to save money. It's like, bro, no, it's not to save money. You have all the money in the world. It's have all the money in the world. Spencer said in an email to staff, as we move forward in 2024, the leadership of Microsoft Gaming and Activision Blizzard is committed to aligning on strategy and execution plan with the sustainable cost of structure that will support the whole of our growing business. Together, we've set priorities, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we're aligned on the best opportunities for growth by laying off 20,000 employees. As part of the process, we have now made the painful decision to reduce the size of our gaming workforce by approximately 1,900 roles of the 22,000 people on our team. The gaming leadership team and I are committed to navigating this process as thoughtfully as possible. It's not clear yet how many staff in Microsoft's gaming division will be affected by the company's newly announced 3% layoffs. And I want to cover something really quick because I feel like Microsoft's Xbox division is not doing great. And I think that's the nicest way to put it. Checking Microsoft Corp over the past 6 months, it is basically back to peak, almost what it peaked at about 5 months ago. And to me, that is insanity. That is absolute insanity. With what? Like, what is their selling point? Like, where's the money coming from for Microsoft? And when you check into it, it's like, oh, the gaming division really isn't doing that well. It's actually, you know where Microsoft is getting a lot of their money is Azure and Microsoft Cloud and all their SaaS services and Windows. The Microsoft gaming division for Xbox has, as far as I can tell, not been doing great. Not been doing great at all. It's just being made up for with all the other parts of Microsoft. And I think the decision is pretty clear with the raising the prices of what Microsoft is starting to charge for the Xbox Series X and raising it $100. Was it $100 from $500 to $600 on a product that wasn't selling to begin with? Why people would spend another $100 on that is beyond me. But we got to a point right now where Microsoft is laying off 3% of their workforce, which is upwards of thousands upon thousands of people, and culminating into, we'll round up and say somewhere around 20,000 people being let go in a span of about 2 years. And this company is, last I checked, one of if not the most valuable companies on planet Earth. And I guess you could say you don't get to be one of the most valuable companies on the planet by paying salaries to people that aren't doing anything. And back to the story of what my brother was telling me, for the longest time, I'm just like, how Microsoft is even in business blows my mind, because they don't even know their head from their ass when it comes to decision making. The company is just so big and such legacy that they can't make decisions. There's nothing can be done there. It's wild to me. It's wild to me. But anyways, I'll leave that one there because I'd be curious to see where Microsoft goes from here. I don't think it's going to go much higher. And I know that sounds crazy for one of the most valuable companies in the world, but I don't know. I don't feel great about its future prospects. Good point, Dracos. Government money was paid to them. I think there's a lot to be said about that. All right, we'll leave that one there.